Welcome to The Explainer. Okay, look, if you tuned into this UEFA Champions League semifinal expecting a cagey, hyper-tactical chess match where two teams just kind of cautiously feel each other out for 90 minutes, well, you definitely came to the wrong place. Today, we are unpacking a matchup that absolutely defied logic, defensive structure, and honestly, belief itself. We're breaking down an unbelievable, breathless 9-goal roller coaster between Paris Saint-Germain and Bayern Munich that left literally everyone, fans, commentators, and probably the players, completely exhausted. We're going to trace the exact anatomy of this chaotic match, mapping out the wild momentum swings, the highly debated decisions, and the sheer unstoppable individual brilliance that defined the night. You know, the opening moments of this match immediately lived up to that epic broadcast quote. Right from the kickoff, you could feel the anticipation. PSG went straight into their usual routine, right? Playing the ball deep into the corners to establish territory and peg the opposition back. But Bayern Munich, they absolutely were not there to just sit back and absorb pressure. They immediately fired back, showing some serious intent of their own. This wasn't just another football match. This was two of Europe's absolute elite deciding to just throw caution completely to the wind and trade massive, heavyweight blows right from the opening whistle. Act 1, the chaotic opening blows. And chaotic is honestly the perfect word for it. The energy was electric right out of the gate, with transitions happening at lightning speed. We had guys like Kimmich delivering these perfectly weighted little dinks over the top, forcing crucial, last-second defensive headers from players like Vitinha. Both teams were actively hunting for an early knockout punch, making those first 10 minutes incredibly fractured, frantic, and wide open. Right in the middle of all this early chaos, Bayern's Luis Diaz takes a tumble in the box and a penalty is given. Up steps Harry Kane to fire it home. Now let's talk about this number for a second, 54. That goal marked his 8th consecutive game finding the net and an absolutely staggering 54th goal of the season. Let that volume sink in. Away from home, highest pressure imaginable, and he just steps up and delivers exactly what Bayern needed to draw first blood. Ice in his veins.
But man, talk about absolute emotional whiplash for an attacker. First, you have the pure agony. Ousmane Dembele has played brilliantly through, finding himself completely one-on-one with the goalkeeper. He opens his body up, looking for that far corner, a position where a player of his caliber scores 9 times out of 10, and he misses. You can literally hear the collective groan reverberate around the entire stadium. Missing a chance like that carries immense psychological weight, right? It can completely alter a game's tactical landscape. But football always offers a chance at redemption. Later on, he goes from that agonizing miss to stepping up and calmly tucking away a massive, high-pressure penalty. It's the ultimate test of mental resilience.
So from there, the game basically dissolves into pure, unadulterated, end-to-end chaos. You blink, you miss a chance. Bayern's Olise was an absolute menace, running super positively into the box, beating Nuno Mendes, smashing the post, and almost forcing a calamitous PSG own goal. Then, instantly at the other end, Doe finds himself surrounded by 3 red shirts and still manages to fire a shot just wide. PSG finally breaks through when Joao Neves makes this perfectly timed run across the box to guide a powerful header into the far corner. But wait, Bayern fires right back. The outstanding Olise does everything quickly and calmly to level the score at 2-2. You literally couldn't look away.
Okay, so just as the half seems destined to end on even terms, we get some massive controversy. A shot from Kvaratskhelia is blocked by Davies. Initially, the referee Carlos del Cerro Grande lets it go. Play continues, but then he blows his whistle to listen to VAR. He jogs over to the monitor, and to the absolute disbelief of the Bayern players, he points to the spot, awarding PSG a penalty for a handball, ruling it went straight onto Davies' arm. This, of course, was the exact moment Dembele stepped up, soaked up all that immense pressure, and tucked the penalty away with total ease. When you track the momentum swings, it is just wild. We jump from a highly debated 3-2 halftime lead straight into a massive second-half goal avalanche, where PSG suddenly surges ahead 5-2 by the hour mark. But then, incredibly, Bayern claws it all the way back to 5-4. This trajectory proves one absolutely crucial thing about modern elite football. No lead is ever truly safe. The sheer speed of transitions, plus the insane attacking talent on the pitch, means a commanding advantage can literally vanish in minutes.
Act 2, the Parisian surge. Because that controversial penalty right before the half, it completely flipped the script. Coming out of the locker room, PSG did not just sit back on their lead. No way. They used the emotional high of that late goal to absolutely suffocate Bayern Munich. They soaked up whatever residual pressure Bayern threw at them and then brilliantly exploited the open spaces on the counterattack, zipping the ball around with terrifying speed and precision. They launched these rapid-fire attacks that just built a massive lead. After Bayern had their own penalty shout waved away, when Upamecano and Kvaratskhelia tangled in the box, Kvaratskhelia immediately races down to the other end, finds daylight, and scores to give PSG a 2-goal cushion. And before Bayern could even catch their breath to process what happened, Dembele struck again. It was just a sequence of pure attacking devastation that left the Bayern defense looking completely shell-shocked.
The broadcasters actually coined the phrase Parisian perfection for this stretch of the game, and honestly, it perfectly captures the sheer disbelief inside the Parc des Princes. For a brief, wild window, Bayern Munich, a team that is practically synonymous with control and dominance, was just blown away. The crowd noise was deafening as PSG established that commanding 5-2 lead. For all intents and purposes, it really looked like the tie was dead and buried right then and there.
Act 3, the Bavarian fight back. Because just when everyone thought it was over, Bayern reminded us all why they are European royalty. You don't get the words champions associated with your club by rolling over when things get tough. Instead of folding under the crushing pressure of a 5-2 deficit in Paris, they reorganized. They found their composure, and they started clawing their way right back into the match.
The crazy thing about Bayern's fight back is that it relied on tactical simplicity and just deadly execution. Step 1, Kimmich delivers this lovely, perfectly precise ball. Step 2, Upamecano, who was left completely unmarked, executes a simple, textbook glancing header into the far corner to make it 5-3. Step 3, pure magic. Kane finds Luis Diaz, who takes an immaculate first touch, swivels his hips to completely freeze the defender, stays on his right side, and delivers an incredibly composed finish. Boom, boom, boom. Just like that. Simple, clinical steps, and suddenly we're at 5-4.
So ultimately, we aren't just talking about a night of defensive errors. We are looking at an absolute exhibition of world-class finishing. We had high-pressure penalties from Kane and Dembele, we had stunning, powerful set-piece headers from Neves and Upamecano, and we had moments of pure, composed individual brilliance from Diaz and Kvaratskhelia. It was really a masterclass showcasing the sheer variety of ways these elite teams can hurt you.
By the time the final whistle finally blew, the commentators were literally breathless. They called this one of the most incredible nights of Champions League football there has ever been. And honestly, they hit the nail on the head. It was enthralling. Even after 90 straight minutes of end-to-end sprinting, massive tackles, and 9 unbelievable goals, the general consensus from everyone watching was that we could have easily sat there and watched another 90 minutes of it.
And that actually brings us to the most staggering realization of the entire explainer. This was only the first leg. After a breathless 5-4 margin, the VAR controversy, the missed sitters, the incredible fightbacks, and the utter tactical chaos, these two teams have to go and do the whole shebang all over again in Germany. If this is what they produce in the first 90 minutes, what on earth could possibly be next? Thanks so much for joining me on The Explainer today, and we will definitely see you next time to break down the highly anticipated sequel.